Hello and welcome to So Farscape.
A fun-filled Farscape fancast by a fervent fan.
And a frankly fascinated first-timer.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay. And this is the story So Farscape.
And we find ourselves deep into the wilds of Season 4.
Yes, deep into the tormented territories.
Of Season 4, Episode 15, Mental as Anything. Now, do you know where the title comes from?
Ooh, no, I don't.
Oh, I'm surprised. I thought that you, as someone who knows all about music, would recognize it as the name of the band whose lead performer designed the Mambo shirts that Ricky Manning likes to wear.
I had no idea that you thought of me as a music person.
Apparently that was it.
Fair
so
enough.
Apparently that
Mental is everything.
Mental as Anything is an Australian band, and all of the performers are also artists. That's how they started.
Okay, yeah, that sounds cool.
Oh,
So,
I wonder if he also created Scorpius's Mambo shirt.
Probably.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, what's Mambo shirt? I mean, I don't know if it's Hawaiian shirts. Is it Hawaiiana? Is that the same thing?
I mean, they seem related, I guess.
Okay. Anyway, let's see what our listeners have to say about episode 415.
Oh, I'm so curious.
Grasshopper organises a road trip. The boys find Mr Miyagi in an effort to keep what's in John's head in his head. A blast from the past dredges up painful memories. Thank you, Marky See.
Ooh. And our friend Mark Nixon is back, host of the Shadows at the Door podcast of atmospheric horror delights. We featured a clip from the upcoming third season a few episodes ago, including our favourite Ladi Tupu as one of the performers. Says Mark Nixon, "Welcome to your training getaway. Teal outfits are mandatory unless you brought a leather bodysuit. Soak up some heat or battle in a seat. Either way, you must complete this rather intense retreat." Oh, what a feat.
Yes. And Dargo enjoys a tense session of Tai Chi with his mortal enemy. Meanwhile, John Crichton gets put in the naughty box. Thank you, Mysterytour.
The boo-boo box.
The boo-boo box, yes. And, well, mental as everything. Yeah, we definitely have a bit of an episode on our paws here.
Yes. So let's jump right in, because it starts off in Pilot's Den.
Prepare to starboard.
Yes, we get a short little recap of what's been going on, how relationships between John and Aaron have normalized again, as far as you can say about, I mean, the normal thing between a relationship of John and Aaron is wildly swinging one way or the other. So
Yeah. so now, like, it finishes with the clip from Twice Shy, where they're going, "So there's nothing between us anymore." Wink. No, there's nothing between us. Snogging noises.
I still think that's like a very good double entendre, you know? There's like nothing, there's nothing between them anymore.
But there's also like no barrier between them, no more lies between them.
Yes.
Very good.
So I think that's definitely intended there. But yes, a little flash to Pilot's Den, where we're back to the unsteady cam Dutch angles, where there's the slowly waving about shots where things are moving in a bit almost dreamlike state. They kind of stopped doing that recently, haven't they?
We haven't spent a whole lot of time on just Moya, which is where the
Fair.
The non-horizontal Steadicam likes to operate. It's very
Yes.
smoky in Pilot's Den, by the way.
They're having a little cuddle there, because apparently this is like safe from Scorpius eavesdropping them on the comms. Maybe they just left their comm systems out somewhere.
Oh yeah, that's actually a good point.
And
They're being really friendly with each other.
yes,
Merry Christmas.
Is there something that comes with this?
It's big. It's taking over your room.
Okay, tell them we're not coming. We're going to stay. We'll watch TV. We'll eat popcorn. We'll act like normal people.
Pilot's clearly in the know and clearly being trusted here.
Scorpius is already on the transport.
Oh.
Scorpius and Dargo and Rygel are waiting for John to arrive, and meanwhile, Noranti and Chiana are waiting for Aaron to arrive
Yes,
as well.
Pilot is relaying comm messages saying, like,
Captain Dargo is asking where you are.
because they're splitting the party.
Oh, wait, yeah, he has to relay it, so they clearly don't have comms with him anymore.
Right, yeah.
Okay, very good. Yes, they're splitting the party. Out of production necessity, it turned out. David Kemper mentioned that since the move to Homebush Bay, the ADR, the automated dialogue recording, the re-recording of what everybody said, was taking longer and longer because they didn't have sound stages anymore, and they were just building up sort of a time deficit. So they thought, well, if we if we do an episode with half the cast, then the other half can catch up on their deficit.
Right.
They don't have to coast for the rest of the season.
Right. They don't have to do anything else. Be there in the makeup, spend hours, this and that.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can just like focus completely on doing their re-recordings. And then the next week, the Team A and Team B switch sides, and Team B can catch up on their recording stuff.
Exactly so.
Did it work?
I assume so. I mean, they finished the season.
Well...
Wait, now I'm wondering, is this why they split the team across Moya and Talon in the third season?
Oh, I mean, it could have worked, except John had to run double shifts then.
Yeah, that's true. At least he didn't have makeup. Can you imagine?
At least the least makeup of everybody in the... Well, him and Aaron, I suppose. Oh, sorry, Claudia Black.
So there's Team Boys and Team Girls. And Team Girls are going on some mission for some Leviathan community to pick up a Moya part.
Right.
You got the better job.
What, rummaging around on a dead Leviathan settlement looking for a Moya part? Oh, that's infinitely more thrilling.
Which Aaron is not super into.
No. I'm not quite sure how that works. I mean, they mentioned something about like a Leviathan graveyard or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
A commune. Well, I guess we'll find out next week, won't we?
Yes. I mean, like, Farscape has never, like, made a statement like that and then, like, left that hanging.
Not followed up, yeah.
Completely left it going, following up. But yes, the boys are going to I don't know.
The boys are going to the gym while the girls go shopping.
Fair. Yes. Okay. No.
It's the 2000s, man. Come on.
Because they're going to some sort of mental training boot camp.
Don't know, you could do with the mental discipline.
Not from someone Scorpio recommends.
Okay, so it's on this planet with 2 moons. It's these glowing domes. This beautiful shot of Lola landing there. And then for now until the end of the episode, everyone is in this domed compound.
There's like 3 sets.
Something like that?
Yes,
yeah.
There's the main icosahedron chamber with the glowy lights on the walls.
Very good. D20?
D20, yes. Although, doesn't John call it a dodecahedron?
Yeah, then if he does, then that's...
I think so, yes.
I mean, he is a jock scientist.
But I ain't going in your icosahedron, Miss Gerbopple. Fail me. Give me an F on my report card.
But, no, I mean, clearly not one who played D&D then.
Yes, he'd be able to tell us D12 from his D20.
Say he would have known that for sure. And yeah, the other set is like the dorms?
Downstairs, yeah, something like that. Yeah, there's the barracks.
The barracks and maybe the mess or something, but that's about it.
Yep.
And of course, in a few dreamscape states in the machine.
So the leader of this compound is someone called Katoya.
You have all come to my dwelling to learn.
Now, the actor you've seen before as B-Sog.
You won't shoot me in cold blood. You can't do it.
He was the gentleman in Home on the Remains on the Dead Budong in season 2.
Yes.
Chiana's ex. He had the split in his forehead.
Oh, yes. And was he the one with the weird dog thingy that was being set up against the other?
The Kiva.
That's
well
Kiva,
done.
Yes.
And this time he's playing some sort of sensei. He has one closed eye, it looks like.
Ish, yeah. It's kind of like he's got some heavy makeup and it's kind of like drooping over one eye, I suppose.
Bulbous forehead, a preference for teal geese that he makes everyone wear.
Yes.
His belt is thicker than everybody else's.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
It's like
we're all going to wear the same, except I'm just going to have like an extra accessory.
I'm going to be a little bit more samer than everybody else is. So yes, they're sitting in this what I'd like to almost think of like one of those steam rooms, which are like, you know, them in those luxury spas you get with the mutely lit places with like hot steam coming out of the vents, and you can just like sit there and sweat a little bit. That kind of like reminds me of one of those that I once was in. With
that must be so relaxing.
Pin lighting and everything. But yes, so this has been a retreat which was organized by Scorpius, because I believe that Scorpius feels that the crew is weak and soft and they need a bit of training. They need a little bit of mental resistance training.
Now, since I hear certainty in your voice, so that means that I'm allowed to doubt.
Yes,
that's how we divide our. Because I didn't feel that the motivation was really sort of clear. In fact, like originally that scene with John and Aaron at the start wasn't in the script. It was scripted just to start here, but then it was felt in the edit like it is way too confusing why the girls aren't here and why everybody's
right.
We need a little bit more time to ease into that, and because like At this point, Scorpius is doing a weird little side huddle with Dargo, John, and Rygel. The four of them are on one side, Katoya's in the middle, and on the other side are two more students of Katoya's. And he's sort of doing a back-of-the-class whisper to his classmates while teacher is talking.
Right.
As if teacher can't hear them.
I mean, this is like established canon now in Farscape. You know? When two people stage whisper to each other, nobody else can hear what they're saying, even if they're standing right on the other side of the security gate. You know?
Okay, very good. And he's saying, well, we have to go through this because, John, you were attacked by a weird creature on Earth, the Screeth, that he doesn't know. But if it is native to tormented space, then Katoya will know it. But his condition for providing us with this information is for us to complete this training. I'm just finishing the thought now.
That seems weirdly at odds with the scene later.
He's lying.
Yes.
Scorpius is lying. Yes, because later on he asks Katoya as one of three favors to identify that creature.
Yeah, so this is definitely not what's been going on.
Excuse me. Question.
Yes, he must be lying.
Yeah. Okay. So yes,
back to my theory that
Scorpius. No, you're completely right. He's putting them through boot camp, but then still I'm curious because everyone here has a nemesis.
Right.
That's what they're being trained against. John is being trained. Turns out to resist Scarran heat torture.
Right.
Through heat torture.
Basically, yeah. He doesn't really have a nemesis. It's just Katoya, I suppose.
Yeah. Rygel sees one of the other students is a Charrid.
What the blitz is that smell?
The stench of that villain Charrid.
The Scarran-allied species that devastated Hyneria and that he has a racial hatred towards.
Yes.
And Dargo sees the face of Macton Tal, his brother-in-law.
Stepbrother, yes. No, brother-in-law, you're right. Stepbrother is when your dad remarries or your mom.
Right, okay,
that's stepbrother. So, yes, brother-in-law.
With truly enviable sideburns.
Oh, yes.
They almost reach his nose.
It is very, greaser style, I would say.
I wonder if he lets those grow out more, whether he could do the same sort of whiskers thing that Dargo has.
Well, you should really let them grow out into his moustache and then just basically let them run up over his ears and then shave the top of his head so you can get a little, kind of like this hair ring running down.
But only over the moustache. I've never seen that.
Yes.
I've seen the sort of chin strap.
No, but just the moustache.
And connect all the way around the back of the head like a Bluetooth headset.
Okay, so I propose that we start with the opening sequence in this boot camp, and then we split it up into each of the three stories.
Sounds good to me.
Because otherwise it's going to be an endless amount of back and forth between what's going on with A, B, and C.
Yes. There's several plots integrated here. So we start off with Katoya wanting to give a demonstration, right?
Yes, well, he starts with giving them the chance to opt out. It's like you've got these little crystals stuck to your face.
Oh, yes, he's bejazzled all of them.
Yes, even Rygel. And he's going to say,
You have 80 microts to exit, after which your Juxtawi crystal will be activated. Any attempt to leave and the crystal will
drill into your brain or something like that.
And do something, which in Rygel's case is behind his nose or something. Where is Scorpius's jazzle?
It is there. It is stuck to his... It's stuck to the side of his temple, I think.
Oh, okay.
I looked for it, and yes, he does have it as well.
Oh, very good. It wasn't just me then.
No. So after this, does he immediately start with the demonstration, or is there a... No, then we get a discussion between Dargo and...
Well, I mean, Dargo charges at Macton Tal.
Right, yes, that
has to be pulled back by John, which... Impressive that John's allowed to actually pull him back.
Right. I mean, that sounds like a bit of a, running theme here through the rest of the episode with
and then
Katoya.
Oh yes, yep. Katoya separates them with Tai Chi.
Well, he does seem to have some sort of telekinetic ability because he uses it several times to do remote pentac jabs down the stairs and.
I had that written down because at first it seemed like he was just very very fast, and then the next time he does it John's at the bottom of the stairs and he's at the top and he does it anyway. I have it written down as mentac jab.
Very good.
Thank you.
Oh yes. Yes, there's a little bit of talking between Dargo about his relationship with his ex-wife. We get the longest close-up ever of Dargo's nose.
It's a glorious nose.
It's a very long shot where John and Scorpius are talking to Dargo about what happened between him and Macton. Yes.
Katoya will not allow you or Macton to
kill each other.
Desmona with Katoya. Macton deserves to die.
You destroyed my family. My wife. My son.
And we get the first of a few short vignettes, flashbacks to the happy domestic life of Dargo and Lolan. Oh, I wonder if she's Ka Lolan or if he's like Dargo Tal. Or if they took one another's name.
Or if that's just not a thing at all.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know.
You have all come to my dwelling to learn. Your objective is mental discipline. To focus your whole mind on a single task is a skill few ever achieve.
How much do we pay for this?
The task chairs provide access to a mindscape where you will compete with an opponent to the point of great pain. Embrace the pain and you shall succeed. Retreat and suffer the consequences.
So we has a dodecahedron, which to me did have some connotations with the Aurora chair.
Oh, yeah.
Which it is actually compared to at certain points, mainly by Scorpius.
Yeah, because you get inside and then you each sit in this sort of chair and you grab your fucking Oculus Rift controllers.
Right. And you get
then
this
you're
virtual
in VR.
reality environment. And it's even like that in much more ways because there's like a TV which everybody else can watch what's going on.
Wait, is there?
Yes, there is. There's several shots where you can see the inside. There's like scenes where Rygel is fighting the other guy, and it's definitely visible from the people outside.
Ah.
But yes, so what happens is they stand in the disc arena from Tron.
Yeah.
But instead of a frisbee, there is a glowing D20, which is apparently a pain orb.
Well, it seems to be on fire, which
Yes.
Scorpius doesn't appreciate.
Well, no, he's got the heat thing going, so. But it's also pain. And they can mentally push it back and forth, and there's a little bit of ping pong going on. Katoya really seems to have this behavior here, which I remember from my fencing instructor back at university. It's like he can easily beat you. He knows he can beat him.
Yeah.
But he will let you score if you do it correctly. You know, that seems a little bit what he's doing. He could easily smack that thing right into Scorpius, but he's allowing Scorpius to win a little if Scorpius manages to focus his concentration and overcomes his pain thing a little bit. So yes, I think that's definitely what's going on here.
That's a very good sort of teaching method as well.
Yeah, I would say so, yes. There's, again, a little bit of demonstration of his kinetic powers, because Scorpius manages to push this thing back all the way to Katoya, and then he just kind of does a little camera pull on Scorpius, and he just draws him back until they're both standing equally close to the sphere, and it ends with Scorpius being smacked by it and coming out of the machine gasping.
Oh, yes. He's in dire straits.
Oh, so what we forgot to tell is that it was first John who got invited to do the little demonstration.
Oh, yeah, but John is like soup's not into it.
No, he's been like, I'm here and I'm going through with this whole project thing.
He's like the kid at summer camp that has decided he's too cool for it. I'm not going to do any of the activities and wash me out. I don't care. My parents are going to pick me up.
Look, I can put up with the fairy crystal and the jammies, but I need to know what else we get for the gym membership.
Yeah, and when Katoya then goes like, Scorpius, he kind of jumps to attention. He's very different.
We don't see that very often for him. I think the closest we've seen is him and Natira, where he has some respect for her. But here, and as we find out, this is someone that he studied under when he was younger.
Yes.
Where Katoya even says, I had hoped that you'd gotten good enough that you wouldn't need your suit anymore.
Cool suit, yes.
For you to have survived so long, my teachings must have been helpful.
They've saved my life on countless occasions.
I attempted to teach you to overcome your need for a coolant suit. And yet, you still have use of one.
And Scorpius kind of demurs, yes, well, there is always room to learn more.
More, yes.
He sort of admits that...
I mean, it could also just be a physiological thing, There's he has this heat thing that needs to be turned off. It's like, is it a matter of purely enduring it, or is it a matter of actually having his brain cooked? You know, there's like, oh, you can just like not have your brain cooked by enduring it better. That's not how chemistry works.
Yeah, but Katoya seems to think otherwise. I find it very frustrating. Like this teacher is presented as if he sort of operates on a standard that nobody else operates on, and just expects people to reach it. But he's so cryptic to the point of being useless.
Yes, absolutely. It's like a teacher who goes like smacks you on the fingers and says like wrong, and won't tell you what
do it better.
Yes, do it harder, or just do it right, and not without telling you what right is, or even what wrong is, for that matter.
One can always learn more.
He's this teacher, and Scorpius has hired him to train these weaklings.
Right.
How did the other guys get here in your hypothesis?
Okay, so I had most of the time during this episode, I thought it was basically a stitch up by Scorpius. Scorpius had arranged this little retreat because he thought that the crew needed it.
Yep.
The boys needed to do a little mental toughening up.
I think that shows he has a lot of faith in the girls then.
I mean, he knows Aaron, and he even mentions that John has been able to resist his Aurora chair quite a lot, even with a bit of admiration, I would say.
As has Grazer observed that previously when she was talking to Squeeth, that Crichton has proved himself to be immune to several forms of interrogation.
Yes. So I've got various notes here that are me like, okay, like at one point I'm asking, is Macton in league with Katoya? Are those two? At a certain point I thought like Macton was maybe like trying to get to Dargo through this method. Because like, why is he there? It's like, why is Dargo's enemy at the same mental boot camp as he is?
In the uncharted territories, which as Scorpius says, like...
This sector of tormented space is forbidden to peacekeepers unless they have received express orders from First Command. Therefore, it is highly likely that Macton is here unofficially. Alone.
Unofficially, Grasshopper? How the hell did he find us?
Be sure to ask him before I kill him.
Or he has special permission. You know, it's like, it seems unlikely that it's like, I wouldn't give it like odds one way or the other. It's like...
Yep. And that the next student just happens to be a Charrid.
Right, which leads to my theory that, it was a stitch-up by Scorpius. So basically, Scorpius contacted Katoya, and he goes like, I want to do your prisoner interrogation boot camp with a few friends of mine, and these persons are there, and see if you can get these other guys there as well, because I know your methods, I know what we should set up there to confront them. Because, like, Scorpius doesn't get a lot in the way of training.
No, you're right.
It's all geared...
He gets nothing. Nor do the other students.
No, it all seems to be geared towards our trio.
Our heroes.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Because Dargo gets to process his grief and his feelings of vengeance over his wife and toward his brother-in-law.
Right. John gets, like, what it turns out to be Scarran heat torture training.
And Rygel gets to just kill another Charrid, I guess, as if on Dabada wasn't enough.
No, I mean, he did, like, this is more hands-on, I suppose. So, let's start with Rygel.
He did torture one to death on Dabada.
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, I guess he's got a lot to get through.
So this was just a gimme, like, and we'll give Rygel something to do as well.
It'd be, like, suspicious if he didn't get anything to, like... Or that he had to fight one of the other guys. So I was really expecting this episode to go somewhere else. I was expecting a lot more,
Ooh.
Okay, so the way it was presented to me, the beginning of the show, how it suggested what they were going to be doing, I thought it was going to be one of those trainings that, I know, Air Force men get. Air Force men get, which is basically, and several other aviators. Well, yeah, and several other people in branches all, which is basically POW training, which is... You are now, the next 3 days, you are being captured by the enemy, and you are going to be subjected to, lack of food, lack of sleep, bad conditions. So you're going to be interrogated, and just to give them an expectation and training in how to deal with that if they are captured at some point in the future. I thought it was going to be something like that. So I was expecting, you've got this training cage, you can do these things. And that's what I was expecting. And more like a episode-long montage of them going through various scenarios in the cage
beating up branches and like lifting logs.
Yeah,
and
being like made to stand with against the wall and with the water dripping on their heads, and
jump on one foot,
stuff
and
like
bark
that.
a dog,
some of that was like
wear
that.
this gimp outfit.
John got
and
some of that, but
get these handcuffs on you, the pink fuzzy one. Sorry.
We're delving into your fanfic territory again, Kaki.
I think it's mostly just the letters that Scorpius and Braca are writing each other at this point.
Fair.
I think the person who gets the most out of this whole thing is Darko.
Oh yes. Well, we don't know like how it's going to pay off for John in the future.
Because he's... Oh, yeah, actually, we can do John really quickly. The lesson that he needs to learn, which Katoya teaches everyone here, is that avoiding pain doesn't help you achieve your goals.
Yes. I mean, that's pretty much what Scorpius also says to him as soon as he comes out of his first training stint. It's like, you can't avoid pain. Sometimes the purpose is pain.
Yeah. Because like what it winds up with after several adventures following John's plotline exclusively at this point, like he winds up being put in the hot box essentially.
Yes.
It's a little cell at the bottom of a well with a grate over top.
What happens? Because he calls it. This is what's being put like in detention. I can't quite remember what caused him to be put there.
I'll tell you what we've learned. We've learned not to take classes from a head job. Now we're out of here.
Your training isn't over.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's just begun.
He spoke up to Katoya, and Katoya mentak jabbed him, and then he woke up.
Oh, right.
On the floor where
right.
like 3/4 is livable and 1/4 is like hot coals with a grate over it.
Yes, hot perpetually burning coals.
And then Katoya taunts him from the ceiling grate and drops the key, which falls into the coals too fast
and melts, I think.
And it happens a few more times.
Okay, so that's actually another note I have. Because first Katoya drops the key, and he's like, "Oh, you weren't fast enough." And then he gets like, he sits there a little bit, and oops, another key drops by, but he kind of dozed off and like misses the key again, and he tries to grab it, and he gets burn wounds on his hands from the hot grate. That the key falls through. Then another key falls through, and Scorpius shows up.
Immediately after, yes. And I think it even happens with like Dargo
as well. With Dargo,
the
same thing as well. First key, and I was wondering, like, is that maybe like the condition that Katoya has set for if you want to go see John, you have to like throw a key through the grate before you're allowed to, like, as part of his training? Or
that's sick.
I know, right?
But then not tell him about it.
It seems like the kind of thing that would happen here.
Ding dong.
Because where else are the keys coming from? You know, there's not like a rack of keys up there, which like occasionally. Have you ever played that game where there's like a semicircle of sticks which are hanging from a rack, and then they can be electronically released, and you kind of have to like grab them before they hit the ground? It's kind of like that.
Oh,
it's kind of like one of those reflex games. It is.
Yeah. I have an image of what you're talking about. It sort of reminds me of what's it called, Project Thor or something, like the imaginary space weapon with the
rods from space. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Scorpius goes and talks to him about that, and he gets, I can't remember exactly what Scorpius' speech is when John's in the hall.
Well, that's, in the hall? Oh, I don't know. Let's do Mintaka 3 and just not worry about the order too much.
Well, no, that's, yeah.
Because, like, what Scorpius gradually reveals to Crichton is that this is training, as you say, specifically against Scarran heat torture.
Yes.
Because the heat is only part of it. And
if that heat succeeds in disabling your mind's defenses, there is no fact, no fear, no deep secret that they will be unable to extract.
And then, says Scorpius, the Scarrans will have wormhole weapons.
Yes, they can take anything from your mind what they want.
Crichton even says, but it'll never come to that.
Oh, Scorpius, so after all we've been to each other, you'd kill me first.
Yeah. Which is a very good point, yes.
Does okay, no.
Well, no, given, but, you know, he might not be around when they show up, so who knows? He's definitely hedging his bets here. Because is there another bit in the story, in the episode where they talk about wormhole technology? Earth. They talk about Giza and Earth. It's one of the... What?
I'm sorry, you went from gyoza to Giza. I love it. I
forget what her name is.
Graza,
yes. Commander Cleaveridge.
Graza.
She's not interested in Earth. She wants what's in his head. That's been restated once more.
Yeah.
And this worries John because, like, oh, does she know where it is? Well, there's a good chance that our little green critter gave that information to her.
Oh yeah, they don't know that. They don't know whether or not. That's what they find out at the very end after Scorpius actually receives the information. Because they must have been worried that Grazer had a way to send the creature to Earth and back again, maybe outside of Moya.
Right, and then it didn't know that it was hiding away on Moya. Yes.
So their minds are put at ease. Yes, that's what their minds are put at ease when they finally identify. Oh no, it's a species called a screeth, and it can use alar naps to communicate over vast distances. So that's probably what happened. Okay, so Earth is safe.
Yes,
because the screeth is dead.
And Dargo has a long talk with John as well. He actually brings him some water. It actually calls him brother at that point, which just seems like their bro code is still going strong with them and only gets stronger, I would say.
And it's mutual.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because John has that as well as Dargo is dealing with his feelings toward Macton.
D, I got your back on this. Grasshopper may be telling the truth. Katoya won't let us disrupt his class. You could deal with Macton when school's out.
After I'm out of here, yeah.
And it's not, I think... once again, delaying somebody else's priorities in favor of his own priorities. No. I think that he's aware that we need to do this current situation. We both know that, because it would be disadvantageous to kill him now, to kill Macton while under Katoya's roof, because then they don't get the information that they need.
I suppose so, yeah.
Because they're all in need of that.
Yeah.
And to finish off John's little arc before we move over to Dargo, the next time the key fall down, he just does a Rambo, grabs the grate.
Yep, lifts it up, burning his hands in the process, and yanks the key out.
Which he squeezes in his hand, burning it even further.
More, yeah, that seems like, just throw it to the side. Well, it might have fallen through the grate there, I guess.
What's with the grates, man? Even the table was a grate.
Everything was great, yeah.
Oh, it's a great episode.
It's great.
Actually.
That's a great job.
Which ends with, at the very end of the episode, we see him just with his hands covered in apparently like healing slime. I love that it's not mentioned.
No. I mean, to be honest, burn gel is kind of like that anyway, so...
What does burn gel do?
Cool, soothe.
How does the soothing work? Is it like
aloe-y? I guess it helps keeping the skin soft a little. I don't know.
Nice.
It's also very tricky because once it dries up, it's fine. But if it gets wet again afterwards, it becomes really slippery again. Yeah. So you have to be quite careful with that.
I've encountered substances like that.
That's a hell of a thing, man.
Let's do Rygel really quick.
Yes, that's going to be over very quick.
Yeah, because he hates all the Charrids. He's facing a Charrid. He gets into the chair. Yeah, he even has a comment from, finally
a fair fight where I have the advantage.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, that's a very Rygel thing to say, say.
Because it's a matter of will, and well, I mean,
I'm a domino. I've got strong will.
I mean, he really does, doesn't he? He's.
At least he thinks so, because he doesn't do too well to start with. Because he gets into the machine, and the Chiswick, whatever his name is,
Charrid, yeah.
Immediately, he does like the same pose that Katoya did.
Yeah, Tai Chi.
Apparently, he knows a little bit how this works, and he immediately pushes the orb right over to Rygel. Here you can see the camera view shot. You see the TV shot where they can see what's going on inside.
Yes, there's an orb. Of course, there's an orb where they can see what's happening in
an orb of scrying.
Yes, an Oculus orb. It's just VR, right?
It is. It totally is VR.
They've even got the two hand controls, except that they're completely immobile and their eyes are closed in the real world.
And they're doing a lot of grimacing.
Oh, especially Rygel.
Yes. Actually, he goes to literally foaming at the mouth and drooling.
I read a bit by Dave Elsey about the improvements that they made to Rygel's animatronics in this season. And it was specifically about setting sensible limits to avoid truly hideous facial expressions, which gave the puppeteers a lot more freedom because they could really push the expressions, and they knew that there would be these safeguards to prevent, because the smile could get very upsetting. The circles would allow.
I see what you mean. But this way, it would allow them to make quicker, jerkier motions, knowing that they're going to hit the limit.
Exactly, and then this automated protection system would prevent him from going a full Joker.
Yes. Okay, it's an interesting trade-off, I suppose. It gives you less freedom and flexibility, but better, better speed and probably a higher emotal rate. I don't know.
Excuse me, Master Jedi. Looks like Sparky's losing more than a few brain cells in there.
He's expending a lot of energy.
Is there any real danger in there?
Yeah. So they were quite pleased with the speed at which they could emote now. But okay, so this challenge is, it's not going his way. He's in tremendous pain. Oh, it's costing him so much effort, says Katoya. I don't know why. I don't know what we're supposed to be concluding from that.
And after the sphere hangs right in front of him for quite a long time, he suddenly managed to surge and blast the other dude out of the VR, and we don't see him again. So
yeah, is he dead? Because when Katoya did it, when Katoya pushed the ball back to Scorpius, the ball exploded, but even virtual Scorpius was still on the ground there. Here, I'm pretty sure the virtual Charrid just explodes.
No, he falls off. You can see him.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, you can see in the middle in the GIF here.
Oh, well done.
He just gets knocked over and knocked down. But we don't see the Charrid anymore in the episode after that. We don't see a lot of Rygel either, because he gets taken away unconscious back to the barracks. And we later see him having a discussion with Dargo, where he is basically coaching Dargo.
Look, he's trying to get to you, and it's working.
Lolan and I were happy together. You can't change that. I won't let him.
He's definitely getting to you.
I should have killed him.
Isn't that what you set out to do when we all left Moya?
Part of me knew that wouldn't bring Lolan back. And another part couldn't resist letting him know that I knew exactly where he was.
Pay attention to the part that wants to kill him. He's given you a second chance to take your revenge.
I'm not sure I want to.
For Yot's sake, kill him and be done with it.
Now, I know that you're dealing with feelings of rage, and what you need to do is just hyper-focus on them, satisfy them.
Kill this dude and get it over with.
Yeah, I think that really is the best, because you're worried about your morality and your desire to kill him, but you need to focus on the aggression.
Yes.
Tear him to shreds, and then we'll move on to the next. He's actually...
I mean, it's not that bad advice considering the circumstances.
No, exactly. And, he's trying to be insightful like he was for Eren in The Choice. And I kind of love this. Right? This is actually great. In an otherwise sometimes grating episode.
There's a lot of greats going on there, but I thought it was a pretty interesting episode, as long as you assume the premise that it's all been set up by Scorpius.
Yes, that does help, actually. I thought I did my preparation better, but apparently, I don't know. I'm still not 100% sure.
No, okay.
That's the case. I mean, maybe just for Crichton's sake. For Crichton's sake, certainly. He wanted to get Crichton into the scout heat training.
But the odds that, the odds that this dude just shows up here. And why would he...
Farscape.
He would be in the... hang on. Where was he at? Because Dargo... Okay, let's go to Dargo. Dargo's story here is dealing with the loss of his wife and the role that his brother-in-law played in that.
Because the story that we heard was that Macton couldn't deal with the miscegenation of his sister marrying an alien and having a child with the alien, and killed her out of jealousy and
rage or species purity, supremacy.
And as a peacekeeper, he was able to blame her death on Dargo, who was then imprisoned for 8 years.
Yes.
That's what we've heard. But Macton is actually able to sow some seeds of doubt in Dargo's mind, very successfully and very gradually, because we see in one of the flashbacks Macton having an argument with Lolan, and Dargo overhearing that and smugly,
bye now.
Bye-bye, you're out.
So lovely for visiting, but then flying into a rage.
I do not want Macton here! I refuse to have him in this house!
You're upsetting yourself over nothing. Dargo, can you hear me? Dargo, can you hear me?
Yes, because he was keeping it under control in front of Macton, but he was honestly venting with his wife, I hate having him around. I hate the way he looks at us.
I don't want him around the house anymore. And she's like, well, but he's my brother, and then
Which is understandable.
And then he literally starts table flipping.
I thought it was so well done.
Yeah.
like his performance, all he's doing is just standing there shaking a table, and the camera, I think the frame rate is like slowed down a bit, so you get a little bit more motion blur, but like the screaming and the rage in Anthony Simcoe's voice.
Oh yes, he really got to act up.
Really, really got to me. But so what Macton is saying, he says at first, I think, to Dargo and then even to Crichton.
He killed his wife.
No. You killed your sister.
Dargo murdered Lowland in a fit of hyperage. Do you know what Luxon hyperage is?
Yes, I do. You know what a croc is? Dargo says he didn't do it. That's good enough for me.
You don't understand. He may not know what he did.
Right. 8 cycles and change just slips his mind.
You do know that Luxon hyperage causes blackouts.
Is that a fact?
Yes. And any honest Luxon can tell you that.
And sometimes you black out. You don't know what you did. And in fact, it was you in your rage what done killed your wife.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
And he sows the seed of doubt with John as well, because he mentions these hyper rage blackouts as well, and he even says like, "Oh, any truthful Luxon would have told you that."
Yeah.
And, like, and John is like, and he just casually slips it into conversation with Dargo later. Hey, this thing about hyper rage, does it like make you forget shit? And then you can see Dargo's look of dread going like, well, it's been known to happen. It's
and then he says,
blackouts during hyperreach can do happen.
Like, he's very confirming about it. And even that, like, John wasn't going to mention anything. Dargo bugged him. Like, what did Macton say? No, I don't want to tell you because it'll only piss you off. And that's what Macton wanted, which is totally right.
Yes, absolutely.
But if you do want that, knowing that, then here's what I'm going to tell you. He said that Luxon sometimes get blackouts in hyper rage. The relationship between John and Dargo is just excellent in this episode.
Dargo's turn in the icosahedron is weird because he basically gets put in a disco, and there are these blue panes of laser lights shining out, and he has to like avoid them and use his rage to do so.
Yeah,
but apparently he's not allowed to turn around to see where they're going, and they keep just kind of like jabbing him. It's like he's trying to Pink Panther his way out of them, dodging in between the beams of the laser security system.
Which come in from the top and from the bottom, and they come in from all over the place and constantly zapping him like some kind of deranged version of Takeshi's Castle that's trying to be a Roxette music video.
And Katoya is really disappointed in him. Because he is like,
fucking cryptic.
Are you even trying? You know,
no,
like,
you should, but are you even trying? No, you're trying too hard.
Put him. Oh yes,
there is no try. There's only what is it?
Could you even put a microt worth of concentration into this? Worst teacher ever.
He just loves being cryptic.
Well, that was instructive.
But it's a reaffirmation for John, who's watching all this.
No, John's in the hole at that point.
Sorry?
John's in the hole at that point because he wakes up. Next scene, John wakes up in the hole.
Oh, no, you're right. It's Macton who's watching.
Yes,
Macton who's scheming. Because eventually, Macton's sort of taunting goes even further because Dargo is sort of working through the possibilities that he's harmed his wife.
Yes.
He tells John, like, we had a deal. If I ever harm her, I will leave. I made that vow.
Yes, he made that upstart because apparently Luxons are not supposed to marry young.
Oh, yes.
Because they haven't learned to control their hyper rage yet. And Dargo did marry young.
Yep. He is very young.
Boy.
Oh, Zan. So he's starting to like figure out that, hey, if I had hurt her, she wouldn't have told me out of love.
Yes. They're breaking the deal, but...
Yes, exactly. And that's bad practice. Like that's
yeah.
Like even aside from like domestic violence and abuse, which is its own thing, which I don't know necessarily is the closest metaphor here, because then there is an intention,
right? Yes,
a power dynamic. But there are situations of like
mental illness or post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I saw that on the television series The Unit, and I've heard from some other people who were in relationships with or were themselves former military people who had some PTSD issues, and that like one of those deals is that if the person suffering from these challenges does in fact at any point get violent, then the other person has the obligation to immediately leave. As part of the deal, like if we want to succeed as a relationship, as a as a partnership,
Yeah.
then we have to be able to trust one another, to be safe from one another, and creating
Right.
this space serves that purpose, because then we can work toward resolution, or we can decide to separate. But either way, nobody wants anybody to be unsafe. And that is something that Lolan is kind of denying Dargo.
Yes, actually, she's breaching that trust a little bit, which leads to a lot of doubt in Dargo's mind at this point.
I think that Dargo is actually at fault here for creating this impossible ultimatum.
Well, because he said, like, if I ever do so, then I'll leave. Yes.
Right, which is terrible for her, because she's in love with her husband, and they have a child together.
No, true.
And so she has to choose between losing her husband or enduring this violence, which is, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, right, that would have been a workable deal if Dargo didn't have that promise, which he promised out of nobility.
Yes.
And it's like, the last thing I want to do is hurt you, so if it comes to that, then I will leave. And like,
thereby also hurting you, turns out. But
well,
not,
yes.
Yeah. But I really like this, because Dargo is flawed. Right? He's a flawed person, and I think so is Lolan. And that's
absolutely. Yeah.
Totally valid.
And Macton is just a racist a bigot. But,
totally.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why this whole plotline works so well is because the writers were split right down the middle between whether Dargo killed his wife or didn't.
Oh, right. Yeah, that.
Like, Justin Monjo was, okay, this is where we need to take this character. We need to bring him down low and to realize that he is the monster he thought Macton Tal was. It opened so many possibilities.
Yeah.
And like David Kemper, he wasn't willing to go that far, because you have to be able to love him. You have to...
Right.
He deserves the dignity of knowing who he is.
And, having his own mind, master of his own mind, I suppose.
Yeah. But because it was such a difficult choice, like, they must have kept coming up with, okay, well, in order to support my argument, here's a fucking fantastic plot line.
Yes. Here's a scene. And like, and now we can, like, we built this, like, one where, like, there's a lot of going back and forth between, basically Dargo peeling apart what actually happened.
Yeah, because it's Dargo who realizes, no, I had my hyper rage. I have that under control. I can prove that right now by the fact, Macton, that I'm not killing you.
Yes, which comes to head when they are in the sphere together, and Macton gets a lot of control over Dargo there, because a lot of this builds up to the moment that Dargo and Macton get to go into the training sphere together.
Wait, do they...
Right at the end?
Go together? Well, they don't necessarily go together.
Right.
Katoya takes Dargo in.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And then Macton, like, assassinates Katoya,
yes.
I guess.
Katoya is talking to Dargo that they're like, I'm disappointed in you and this and that, and this is all not going very well.
Oh, and summoning a vision of Lolan.
Yes.
To challenge Dargo. And then while Dargo is talking to this vision, Katoya just explodes because he's been bestabbed in the real.
Yes. Dargo is working way through his thoughts about what's happened. Katoya is trying to, like, get into his head of whether or not he could actually do this, if he could actually hurt her. I think that's what
again, being so stupidly cryptic. And like, what is your actual goal here, bud?
And when Macton gets into the driver's seat and starts taking over, he really starts torturing Dargo.
How do you like your fish head, you miserable old fool?
Because, like, whenever Dargo hits him, then he hit Lolan.
I thought that was
and whenever,
so good.
Yeah, whenever Macton hits Dargo, he just slaps him around.
Like, it's almost sort of weirdly erotic at one point where Macton is showing off his bruises by, like, revealing lifting the hem of his ankle, which is Lolan's ankle,
you see Macton doing it, and then the next shot is
neck.
Lola showing an actual bruise and damage that Dargo supposedly did to her.
Yeah.
And that ends with Dargo realizing that the story that Macton has been feeding him doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Because firstly, he said, like, you killed her in a fit of hyper rage.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, that didn't happen. What made him decide that couldn't have happened?
Well, like, I have it under control because I'm not killing you.
Yeah.
And then Macton says, well, no, it was your violence that led to her death. She took her own life because she couldn't stand your beatings anymore.
Which is, like, typical gaslighting talk for, like,
yes.
and he also says it to Lolan later in a flashback. It's like, oh, look what you made me do. Which is always like, anybody who says, like, look what you made me do is exactly what they wanted to do, and they're just using it as an excuse.
And Dargo you're absolutely right. Yeah. And Dargo rejects that as well.
You're lying. Every word you've said is a lie.
No. You beat her and you killed her. You know the truth.
You never knew Lolan, and you knew nothing about love. You know what Lolan went through for our love. I wish I could have loved her half as well.
Oh, you loved her to death. You do not have this power.
Lolan told me that I do have power over my hyper rage. And it's more than enough to control you in here.
You cannot kill me. Not in here.
I have no intention of killing you. I loved my wife. But you wouldn't know that. You didn't know Lolan. I did. She could have left me for my failings. Maybe she should have. But I know this. She would never have left her son without a mother.
No, Lolan would not have orphaned her child.
Yes, she would like never have killed herself because Jothi would. Yeah, she wouldn't have orphaned Jothi. So
and I really like bringing that in because he's taking it out of like there's more to Lolan than me.
Yes,
right. She was
I might not have been. I might not even been the most important person in her life. That was probably Jothi. Yeah,
yeah. And that's totally valid. Like, you're not supposed to have favorites, of course, but we do have differing priorities. And that's a blind spot for Macton. Mm-hmm. Macton just didn't think about Jothi at all.
Yeah.
His nephew.
Yeah,
right?
but yes, like, you know, half-breed and like, racial purity, this and that. But yes, once he breaks free... Oh, yes, we kind of forgot about the whole scene where he's like beating him up when he's got him back in the chains in his...
oh, wow.
On Moya.
Oh, that was brutal.
Yeah.
Don't try to resist it. It's my gift to you, Dargo. Your own hyper-age in a place where you can rot in it forever.
After he kind of convinces Dargo that Dargo was responsible and that he casts him back in the cell, puts him in the chains, and starts beating up on him like, this is where you belong, this is what you deserve.
This is where we're going to leave you, and repeating hell that she went through.
And that is when Dargo makes the final realization that, like, no, this is like...
when the sleeper awakens.
I didn't kill her because I have myself under control. Yep. She didn't kill herself because she would never orphan Jothi, and therefore you killed her. And and then the chains just kind of like, his hands just drop free from the chains.
Keanu Reeves stands up, stops all the bullets. Kwisatz Haderach awakens, his fifth chakra opens.
And he starts laying it in on... Macton, and leaving Macton in the machine in the way that he was going to leave Dargo, like basically beating up his sister.
And then they fly away.
And then
leaving this dojo, this space dojo that's apparently quite famous, with one Charrid who is sort of confused.
Presumed dead.
Well, I mean, I presume he was dead, but maybe he was just like taking a nap, and then he wakes up and he sees Katoya dead and Macton stuck in an endless hell loop.
Yeah,
and no spaceship to go anywhere. Maybe they smashed the radio.
I mean, they must have gotten there by spaceship as well. You know, him and Macton. So they must have gotten there.
Oh, I wonder if Rygel just had a little side adventure that he was off sabotaging all the communications equipment to just send the Charrid to hell. Wow.
Yeah. So that's when we get the scene with John like sitting with the burn gel on his hands, and like Dargo is, and they're kind of like no talking, like mostly him and Scorpius. And Dargo's being kind of quiet, and John's like, are you okay? It's like, yeah, I just got a lot going on right now.
If you were fine, you'd have killed Macton instead of leaving him there.
He's trapped in a coma with his own nightmares. Killing him would have been merciful. I'm not that enlightened.
And I get it. Like, he's been confronted with a lot. That he has flaws that are just part of who he is. That are mistakes that he's made, that are inadequacies that people around him have suffered from, as we all experience.
And what do John and Scorpius talk about in the last bit? There's a little bit of back and forth between them in the last scene.
I don't know. All my notes say is healing goo and Macton sucks.
Well, yes, Macton does suck quite a bit, but yeah, that was not a good family relationship they had.
Hey, there was one bit that we haven't talked about, which is Macton says, I came because you would be here, as if he was either invited or he found out.
Which place? Well, there was a thing about Dargo at some point lets Macton know that he knows where he is.
Oh, that was during the halls. That was during their summer holidays between season 3 and 4.
Right.
When they were all split up. That's what Dargo went off to do.
But he didn't do anything about Macton at the time. He just wanted him nervous and afraid, I suppose.
I mean, originally his intention was to kill him, but that wound up not happening, and now he reveals, like, I just wanted Macton to know that I knew where he was.
Right, and Macton is now here because he knows that Dargo is here, and he wants his revenge on Dargo, which again leads to me that Scorpius has been meddling again.
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
It seems like the kind of thing, because it fits in with the fact that he lies about the boys having to go through this training in order for Katoya to give him the information, when in fact halfway through he teases that information out of Katoya by saying, like, oh, well, I want 3 favors, and Katoya's like, oh, do I owe you that many? And then they're not really favors, what he asks, in my opinion, other than the information. It's like, no, it was like turn up John's training. The first one is something about, like, turning up the training for everybody.
And the second one is, I remember.
Secondly, Macton has become a distraction. Maybe a dangerous one.
He has done nothing wrong.
I believe despite his protests, he will kill Dargo.
Or Dargo will kill him. I will have neither here.
Still, some preemptive action could be called for.
That's what it was.
And the last one is and this creature, what do you know about that?
Yeah, which apparently has not come up before. Right,
so I think my theory is, like,
I'm with
Scorpius has been, like, arranging this whole thing, and this was just,
I'm fully with you.
Him, Scorpius scheming.
I mean, I think
Scorpius going to scorp, as we say.
I think even this is how I remembered it, and then I started watching the episode, and I almost started wondering, hey, is the training episode coming later? Like, I literally was thinking, oh, so maybe the one where John winds up in the hole is actually a later episode.
Yeah, and then it turns out to be this one anyway.
Turned out to be this one.
It had weird timing, this episode, I'll give you that. But lots of very emotional flashbacks with Lolan, and yes, that whole development. So,
All
yes.
right, let's see.
She gives me a woody.
She gives you the willies.
Oh, okay, that's a tricky one. I don't actually have... I thought about it while watching the episode a few times, but I didn't actually have anything marked down as willies or woodies. Like, I usually have a few marked in my notes, which are potentials, but I don't have any of that right now. So,
what did you think about the flashbacks? I mean, they didn't actually take the time to give Dargo his season 1 makeup like they wanted, but that would have been an extra, like, 5 hours.
Yes.
That might have been confusing to new viewers.
Okay, who is he? Well, I mean, the flashbacks were all soft tone flashbacks, so it was always very clear that they were flashbacks.
Oh, absolutely.
So but, like, easily pulled that away.
Is he the same person? Because, right, the makeup would have been identical, but his skin tone was very different in season 1.
Fair, yeah.
He might even have still had green eyes. How about that?
Ooh, yes. I mean,
actually, Katoya was supposed to have really funky lenses in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he had a little eye injury or something, and the nurse wouldn't allow it.
That happens a lot, doesn't it?
Yes. A lot of people seem to develop eye injuries when Dave Elsey wants them to wear lenses.
Crikey. So, Willies. I think, I don't know, the whole John torture thing, that was a bit willerific.
Oh, you got the really wide angle views.
Yes.
You saw him sort of losing it. It was...
And the completely nonsensical training methods that Katoya has.
Yes. It was very wax on, wax off. But with no payoff.
Yes, and my woody would be very simple. It was really... John, who keeps, like, whistling the River Kwai song whenever he's, like, stuck in his cell trying to...
is that what we're calling it these days?
That's what I'm calling it on the podcast. Of Fame by Alec Guinness.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Actually, it is from Bridge on the River Kwai, which also includes heat torture.
I know, right?
Okay, now I'm getting it. Oh, well done.
So another one of John's cultural references, which has been...
How did he have time to study space when he was just watching movies all day long?
It's a classic.
My Woody. Actually, I do have a few candidates. I mean, I love a Dargo episode. You get stuff to do.
Yeah.
Positive relationships between men. Now, we don't have a lot of other options in this episode, because aside from the fictional Lolan and the opening scene with Aaron, it's a sausage fest.
Yes.
The teal geese. Like,
I mean,
I kind of
dig them. Yeah, it's like
mine actually
Pajama
goes
Party.
to some of the.
We should call that the episode Pajama Party.
We titled them after quotes now.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, it's some of the camera work. There's some really, really exciting camera moves toward the icosahedron, which is either like a really like a fast crane move, or maybe even like a cable move.
With the starlight bedazzled ceiling there. You know, those.
The whole location was gorgeous, and like there was a CG extension area, and apparently it was no fun for the actors because they'd get motion sickness from the weird lights. But
that's peculiar. Yeah.
Looks great for us. So the sort of camera work and production design, that's actually going to get my Woody this time around.
Oh, excellent.
Willies, though.
Ooh, yeah. Go on then.
I feel like this episode wanted to be more standalone than it could be this far in the season.
Fair.
Would have benefited from being more standalone, because it's like the core is Dargo confronting Macton.
Mm-hmm.
And so it required all this sort of circumstantial plot in order to justify that existing here. And also, you know, the production reasons. So there's Scorpius scheming and anticipating Grazer and like wanting the information about the Screeth, all of which like just doesn't have enough space to really connect you.
I see what you mean. But yeah, it did require quite a lot of this in order to be able to do a, you know, detective plot, basically.
Right, yeah.
Without actually having to be, like throwing it into another courtroom where we're going to investigate this. And it's combined with, the...
Oh, shit. They could have totally done another Dream a Little Dream of Me.
Something like that, yeah.
No, because, that was originally as the first episode of season 2.
Yeah.
And then it was reworked with a few more flashbacks and, like, sideways framing devices. You could have totally had an episode that was about Dargo on trial for the murder of Macton Tal, and then having to go through, objection, Your Honor, flashbacks about his various confrontations with...
But that would have also required a lot of plot setup, because he's already been convicted of this once. You know?
No, that was killing Lolan, yeah.
Right, but then he would have been captured by the peacekeepers who weren't...
No, he could just go shopping and then he can get arrested. It's happened to them like 8 times before. Like
he just happens to run into Macton on the planet, kill him, and then it goes on trial.
No, between seasons 3 and 4, he has already murdered him by the time season 4. And then, like, as at some point when they go shopping, because it's always when they go shopping.
Oh, then he gets picked up.
Somebody picks him up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that could have been possible.
Hire us for the season 5 continuation
for the reading room, for the writers' room. Yes, absolutely. So, that's the story so Farscape. Yes, please join us next week. There's another reading of Tales of Tormented Space. And after that, 416, bringing home the beacon. Beacon, yes, it does say beacon. I was like, for a moment there we were going...
Yeah, suddenly getting hungry.
In which the ladies of Moya head for a commerce settlement to purchase a device that will help disguise Moya. The arrivals of several high-ranking peacekeepers and Scarens, however, give them a new mission and a new threat.
Ooh, lots to look forward to. Yes. And girls' night.
Party time. Excellent. Oh, no, wait, that's again the wrong movie.
It's almost even nicer to look forward to that, knowing that the boys were all stuck in studios just recording lines. Thank you for joining us at So Farscape once again. We're delighted that you're keeping us company in the last sort of leg of season 4 as we're heading toward its thrilling conclusion.
7 more episodes. So please, if you have any synopses, send them in now.
Oh, yes. SoFarscape.com/links for your synopses, some of the last opportunities you'll ever have. And I know some of you have probably already sent them and maybe forgotten whether you've sent some in. We actually kind of like it when people accidentally send duplicates. There's also the opportunity to join our Patreon. Once again, thank you to all of our supporters. It means so much to us, and it's thanks to you that we have the equipment that has in the past saved us from having to re-record entire episodes because we have a backup recorder. And if you have any suggestions for fanfic, which until very recently I thought, maybe I should stop mentioning that, we actually got a suggestion.
Oh, good.
Yes, it was suggested by someone from Terra Firma Escapers. Haven't looked at it yet, so I need to check whether it's appropriate. But if it is, then we'll be hearing that pretty soon. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
So Farscape, so good.